everybody, welcome to Back Issues. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Okay, today we're going to do a book that was given to me almost via challenge, and I pushed it off for a long time. And recently I was like, okay, ha 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 ha. Read one issue and was like, I'm out. And then was like, hang on.
Right.
Let me give this another shot.
Okay.
The research did happen, but there just isn't a lot of like videos out there. So if after this video you start seeing more videos, you know where it came from now. We're going to be talking about War of the Gods by George Perez.
Oh.
We're going to talk about this book, which up until recently, if you didn't have this, which I think this printing came out in 2016, you could catch up on some of this event in the volumes of George Perez's Wonder Woman run. So like all the issues of War of the Gods itself were in there, but anything else that was involved with it was not, unless it was Wonder Woman.
Oh.
Or 2021, they printed the omnibus for War of the Gods, which has significantly more content in it.
It's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this book. Okay? Around like 1990, he puts in a proposal to DC that says, hey, Wonder Woman's 50th anniversary is coming up in 91. We should probably do something for that.
And they said, for a woman, fie on you.
Well, they didn't say that. They're like, okay, sure. Like as though they didn't have it on their calendar.
Right. So like, oh, really? All right, sure. Whatever.
Okay, what are you thinking?
If you want to do that, I
what
mean.
what are you thinking here? And he's like, well, I'm thinking, we maybe like do like, like a poster we can put out there. Like I'll do some art for it, right?
Yeah, and then the execs are like, yeah, like a swimsuit issue, right?
What? No. He wanted them to print like a trade for Wonder Woman, like celebrating 50 years. What they would end up doing is printing a trade of like Wonder Woman, like I think they called it Wonder Woman Year One, and it's just the first 8 issues of Perez's run, which he was like, cool, but like that's just me. You're celebrating me. You're supposed to celebrate her.
Right.
So like, where's everything that came before I wrote the book? And they're like, what?
George, we're trying to sell comics here.
Everything that came, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yo, what?
We didn't
I don't know
keep
if you
any
know
of
this,
that.
but like I don't care.
Yeah.
I want to sell more books, and you're writing Wonder Woman, so we're giving them your
This
stuff.
is like a weird time for DC, and a lot of people during this time would say that like DC didn't have the market share that Marvel had. Marvel had a way larger market share of people buying their books, so like they really didn't. They're like, we just need to make more. Gimme.
So, like,
And
George.
this isn't Batman.
Right.
Right. Why do you care so much, George? Nobody else does.
Yeah. Well, this is okay. So at the end of this, I think we'll have a cautionary tale about writing comics, but also like a deep understanding of a person who really has a passion for a character, because like George Perez has a real passion for Wonder Woman. He really loves this character. So he suggested he wanted to do a big bombastic event for Wonder Woman. 58 years, let's do something big, puts a proposal together. They're like, okay, sure, why not? In January 1990, puts this proposal in. Cool.
Okay.
This book would not come out until September of 91.
Okay, maybe it took a while to write.
20-some months in the making.
But not for the reasons you think. Perez finds out, because he wants to do kind of like sort of a crossover thing and sort of not, because he doesn't necessarily like crossovers, because this is a crossover. Because he doesn't like working with other people when they're like, oh, I want to cross over using your character, right? And he doesn't want to make someone have to do that. So like he had this plan, and the plan was that he wanted to basically do a crossover event, but only have it take place in the characters' annuals, so that technically it doesn't derail the story that the other creators are working on, right? So it's like, oh, it's not a bad idea. So it's like you'll have the like 1 through 4 issues of War of the Gods. Wonder Woman's book itself will be pretty devoted to what's going on in this story, and then all the other characters I want to have involved will use their annuals.
Right. That's a good idea.
And then he finds out DC's doing another event.
Oh.
DC didn't tell him they're doing another event. DC thought to themselves, we'll just do another event, who cares, right? Marvel does it all the time, and it's going to be a crossover event, and it's going to use annuals.
Oh. Oh. Damn.
They're like, no, we will back you up. You're going to do a real crossover with all these other creators, and you have the power of DC behind you.
Right.
We will be there
You're going to tell them what
up.
for. You're going to fuck up their stories like there's no tomorrow, George. We've got your back. Don't worry.
Don't worry. We're going to be there. Editors are going to know what's happening. Not to worry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Start doing your thing. Yeah. Right? So
and these other writers, they're going to come to you and they're going to be like,
yep.
Please don't make my character do this. And we'll come and we'll be like, shut up.
Yeah.
George needs this from you, and you're going to get in line, you piece of shit.
Yeah. So George starts, working through everything, and immediately out of the gate, there's a problem. because he wants to use a character by the name of Shazam. He hears from someone who went to a convention that John Byrne is going to be taking over Shazam. John Byrne's story doesn't really jive with what Perez wants to do with Shazam in this book. DC read his proposal, DC read Byrne's proposal, and they're like, okay.
Okay, both.
I don't care. What? And then they're like,
Oh, these are mutually exclusive?
Oh yeah, that's not gonna work.
Oh, well, I already said that you could do it.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna push off your book.
George, shut up.
We're just gonna push the book off.
In a year, Shazam will be right back where he was.
It'll be totally fine.
No problem.
Don't worry about it. Meanwhile, supposedly, according to John Byrne, DC came to him and was like, "Hey, do you want to write whatever?" And he's like, "I do want to write Shazam." And so he put together a proposal. And he's like, "My number one thing is I don't want Shazam to be in the main DC universe. He's in his own universe." And they're like,
My
"Okay."
only condition.
Yeah, my only condition is this thing. And they're like, "Okay." And then later
Why
on,
would they say yes to that?
and he's like, "Okay, cool." So he works on some stuff and does whatever, and he turns it in, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, they totally has to be part of the DC universe." So he left, and then DC was like, "Oh
no."
Hey George, we're gonna move your timeline back up. Now you're behind." The War of the Gods could also be called How DC Screwed Over George Perez.
Right. Yeah.
They're not working on advertising for it. Instead, George draws, because George is also an artist, and simultaneously, as he's trying to create this and put this together, he's working with Marvel, drawing the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, wow.
So, which he didn't like doing. He found it to be boring, and he didn't really enjoy it at all. So he did, I think 3 issues, and then part of a 4th, and then he bailed. He left. He was like, "I'm out. I can't. I don't like this book. I'm clearly, not suited for it, but, he drew all the important stuff that y'all enjoy, so, cool." So he wants to really focus on this. So he has a first cover with he's like, "We're gonna turn this into a poster, and we're gonna show it as a crossover with Wonder Woman, and isn't that gonna be amazing?" And then he sees an advertisement for the other event that has to do with just the annuals, and who's on it but Wonder Woman.
But that's his book.
And also Wonder Woman doesn't have an annual coming out that year, so she's not actually really part of that event.
What?
What is that event, you might ask? It's Armageddon 2001.
Oh.
Do you remember that book?
Not well.
With Wave Rider
Oh, yeah.
and Monarch?
Yes.
That is the event that they chose over George Perez doing Wonder Woman, War of the Gods.
That was really bad.
No.
Yeah. Where's that omnibus, DC? Because at least you printed this, which is kind of 30 years later, you were like, "Hey, let's reprint this. Let's ignore everything we did to George Perez and just print it again."
Well, those people are all gone. Those people who did that.
Nobody remembers. Nobody remembers.
We like money. Let's do it.
Yeah.
What does that say about us? We don't care.
Oh, we don't care. So, throughout this process, Perez finds out, editors haven't been told. He ends up calling up writers directly for the other books.
Right.
Like Marv Wolfman, for example, he needed to use the Titans, and in particular, a specific character from the Titans book that was ongoing. And he's like, "I'm not trying about George. I haven't heard anything about this. This is 2 months before the books are supposed to be out."
Oh, man.
No one has told anyone creatively about George Perez's plans.
Nice.
So Marv's like, "Dude, I really want to help you out, and honestly, I'll try to do what I can, but most of the Titans are involved in something else, and I can't get them back right away."
Without really screwing up my own story.
Bingo.
Yeah. Yep.
So over and over again, Perez runs into this, right? Till eventually,
"Oh, George, I know we said we were gonna back you up, but
but nah.
we're like cats.
Yeah.
You can't hurt us around, man."
Yeah, that's not
Oh
gonna...
no, man! I just talked to what's his name on the Titans over there, and no, it's not gonna work for him. You're not
Marv.
gonna be able to use those guys.
No, the fact is, nobody talked to anybody.
No,
And
I
that's
just got off the phone, and
Oh.
Batman, he is out for this event. I am so
What?
sorry.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but everyone else for sure, 100% in.
Okay.
Except also Superman.
There are 24 parts to the War of the Gods, and a lot of them are in other people's issues, right?
Right.
And some of those
Crossover.
issues, really, it's clear that, they tried their damnedest to make this work, and other ones are just I will make one mention of whatever, but I am still telling my story.
Yeah.
Because you didn't tell me in time.
Right.
So I can't change it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I already have most of the story written. I'm not going to scrap the whole thing.
Right?
Yeah, so it's like every fucking event now. It's like there's just these tie-ins that are just
Yeah.
like totally out of
like-
the storyline that their characters are in,
Exactly.
and also have to be irrelevant to the main story because.
But usually the tie-ins are supposed to be that.
Yes.
These are supposed to be.
Right, these were not
this
supposed
is
to
parts.
be that. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is supposed to be like this was a huge undertaking to celebrate the 50-year anniversary of this
Yeah.
character, which, as you can see, there's nothing about that on here because they dropped that immediately.
Yeah.
So then, like, Perez was like, "What's the point of this?" And slowly, Perez becomes pretty depressed about this whole project and like starts slowing down in terms of his workload, right? And he fully admits that. He's like, "I'll be honest, like." I definitely slowed down because, like, what was the point of doing any of this? I didn't have any backing. No one was helping me. I was just me. Now, his editor was Karen Berger, who, as we know, is like part of the think tank behind Vertigo and Sandman and the British invasion into DC, right? So you think, hey, that's great. Except after all these other blows, well, you see, Karen was pregnant and she went into labor, and so she was off on maternity leave. And they gave him a new editor who didn't have much experience. And that guy did not help at all. This book is cursed. They had an artist, but that artist ended up leaving because she wasn't getting the work fast enough, so she leaves, so they bring a new artist on, but the new artist isn't being managed by the new editor, so like the artist is sending in things for issue 4 before issue 3's things are finished. Things are falling behind because like DC's not responding to things, and according to Perez, like they got a new answering machine service there, which wouldn't tell you if the person was in office or not. So like work is sitting on people's desks for weeks because they don't know it's there. It's a disaster.
Nice.
A fiasco is what he described it as.
Right.
I'm like, that's kind.
Do you think this is one of the reasons why they don't like do it like this anymore?
To do like a big crossover like this. I mean,
it's like it just doesn't friggin' work.
it doesn't friggin' work. It could. Here's the thing. It could work if anyone in charge had actually taken charge. You can't expect the writer to come in and like kick doors down and be like, everybody listen to me, I'm in charge now, you got to do this. No, you need someone up top to go like, yeah, but he really does have the backing, and you need to have it planned out far enough advance. George did.
Yeah, but then he
DC
couldn't make
didn't.
it happen.
Until DC
That's
was like,
probably what usually happens, where they're like, oh yeah, even if they did try to take control, they'd go to all the different teams and they'd be like, oh no, that's not gonna work for me, man. And be like, oh well, I don't know, he says it's not gonna work for him. You know, like, so now it's just like, oh no, like you don't have to, like they don't do parts.
Yeah.
There's the main book, and then there's tie-ins.
And then there's tie-ins.
And they're like, they could be whatever. They're like barely related.
Yes.
Do they happen in the main storyline of the character? Do they not? Who fucking cares?
Right.
Nobody's reading them anyway.
Right. Now, if instead they had done the original plan of the annuals, it probably would be a much more cohesive story, right? Because then the writers would have come along and been like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, it's an annual.
Then the annuals wouldn't have been stolen by a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A different story.
A different, worse story.
Yeah. Which is brought up in here. Which is hilarious.
Yeah, it's happening at the same time, right?
Because, well, it is and it isn't, because this got delayed. This technically came out after 2001, but in theory it happens before 2001. Clearly indicating some things, because like there's like a couple of issues in here of Hawk and Dove, and an issue of Captain Atom or two in here, and depending on when those come out time-wise, they're like, oh, right, now Hawk is Monarch and Captain Atom isn't, even though you can see it, they're clearly setting up the other thing.
Yeah. Oh boy.
George really went out of his way because William Messner Loebs was coming in to write Wonder Woman next, and he really wanted to go out his way to make sure he tied up any and all loose ends that he could, because he didn't want to like leave things that he had to deal with, right?
You mean he didn't just have Wonder Woman like flip off the audience and be like, I'm out!
There are definitely a couple
Bastards!
there are a couple moments here later on in War of the Gods where you can see like he's just done. He's like, it's just a job and I don't care anymore. But like Perez had been setting up throughout the Wonder Woman run a relationship between Steve Trevor and Etta Candy, with the intention that they would marry by the end. So like he sets that whole thing up, and then like the last issue he puts in the proposal, this is what it's going to be, it gets approved, he's drawing it, he's writing it, well, he has a scripter, but like, you know, he's plotting it and he's writing it because, or drawing it because he came in to this run actually with a different like scripter. He was like he was plotter and artist for Wonder Woman. Someone else was there, they left. inevitably another person was brought on briefly until George took over, primarily doing scripting as well, and then I guess he needed a little help, so they brought someone in to help script the book, but like he was plotting it, he was being like, this is what's going to happen to Diana, now you write the words they're going to say, and I'll draw everything, and it's going to be great. So he like draws this final issue, and then they're like, oh hey, listen, I know, we just totally screwed you on War of the Gods. Okay, but like we kind of apologize for that.
Did you?
Actually, we're gonna have William Messner Loebs handle the wedding between Etta and Steve. So I know that thing you set up your whole time, you don't get to do that.
Why not?
So we actually need you to go back and redraw it.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're gonna throw away all that stuff you wrote.
But I drew the wedding.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
it's
nah.
No. It's
It's not gonna happen.
Just redo. Just thank you. Bye.
Remember that thing that you couldn't make others do and that you're making me do? That whole like split of power and how you're supposed to convince them that they were supposed to like be on board, but they said no.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying no.
Right.
Shouldn't that be rewarded?
Yeah, but
good
you're
job.
leaving.
Yeah, that's right. I don't have to make you happy.
You're old news.
You're gone.
You're
I don't
garbage.
care
What's in
anymore.
it for me if I make you happy? Nothing.
Nothing.
So just do what you're fucking told.
So like he does have a blowout. The issue does not reflect anything that.
Right.
I honestly don't.
Wonder Woman just doesn't take a shit right in front of like a building labeled DC.
I feel like the editor might catch that.
No. Anyway, they do redo that issue, and at the end there's a really nice letter. So I encourage you to read that because it's just literally it's Perez saying goodbye to Diana, like she was a real person. It's really sweet. He's just it doesn't quite say this, but it's almost like I tried to make anyone give a crap about you, and it's clear that not even DC does. So.
Yep.
So War of the Gods really doesn't even start in this omnibus because because Perez is leading up to it in his run.
Right.
So from like issue 50 on, issue 50 is like a double size issue. It's like 48 pages. Themyscira or Paradise Island decides that they're going to like, let's go to Man's World, let's do it. Let's reveal ourselves and like show everybody what's up. Let's do it.
Like we're awesome. Why not?
Yeah. So like, everyone knows Diana at this point, right? So they make a big deal about it. They're gonna have emissaries.
Do they know that she's a Themyscirian?
Yeah, they know she's from Paradise Island, right? Yeah, so they know all that. So, Hippolyta and like a whole delegation of Amazons, come to Man's World, to Patriarch's world, and they're like, ta-da, we're here, and like we're gonna like help, and like we're gonna learn from you, and you're gonna learn from us, and it's gonna be
a lot more of you learning from us.
It's for real. It's gonna be a real cultural exchange though, and how nice will this be, right?
We'll open embassies and have ambassadors and all that stuff.
Yeah, and like I see all the male hands going up to volunteer, but slow down. But additionally to that going on, there are like machinations going on in the background of all of this. Seemingly Perez is trying to like pull in as many classic Wonder Woman like villains that he can into this and make it work. And I think he does so fairly successfully. Even though one of them really only shows up in the Wonder Woman book, which is fine because if you're a Wonder Woman fan, that's the book you're reading. You don't care. Right. But like in the background of all of this, Cersei is doing her thing. Now the last event I did on this couch having to do with Wonder Woman also included Cersei and magic and all of that.
Yeah.
Just keep that one in mind. So, because I think someone else read this. So, Cersei had been held in graveyard of Kronos. Now, if you know your Greek mythology, Kronos is one of the Titans. He is responsible for the birth of most of the gods. He and his wife, I think it's Rhea.
That sounds right.
I only remember Kronos.
Yeah, had a whole bunch of gods, right? And then like, what was Kronos famous for? Well, he had heard a prophecy that his children would kill him until like as they were born, he would eat them. So like anyway, so he eats his kids, right? Except Zeus, who's saved, and Zeus comes back later on and like kicks his dad's ass.
Yeah.
And I'll crawl out of his skull or something.
Yeah, he like birthed from his forehead.
Made him regret not eating him as a child.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, But anyway, so that's where he's there, right? And, like the Kronos is a Titan of myth, and like those are important because someone else later on in another book that doesn't even matter, but does get something from the Titans of myth. We'll get to that. The gods don't have a lot of strength in the graveyard of Kronos, and so when they put Cersei there, she's weak. Secretly, Ares' daughter, Eris,
Very
Ares.
creative name, Ares.
He's got Phobos, Deimos, Eris, Eros, and Harmonia. You only need to know like 3 of them for this book.
Oh. But you do need to know 3.
But you do need to know 3.
Wait,
That's
so
3
Ares
more
is
than I
named after
definitely
the
knew.
Mars, or Mars is named after the Greek god Ares. But Mars only has 4 moons, and he has 5 kids.
Yeah.
Mars has 2 moons.
Yeah, it does.
Never mind.
Mars has 2 moons. It's Phobos and
Is it Jupiter that has 4 moons?
Jupiter has 4 Galilean moons, but it has like 30 moons.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Mars has 2 moons, and that's Phobos and Deimos, which I know because Sailor Mars has 2 crows, and they're named Phobos and Deimos.
Oh, I only know
go.
that because of Doom.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also Doom.
So Eris decides, hey, you know what I want? I want to take over for Ares. I want Ares out of the way, and I want to take over Areopagus, which is like the mountain hall of Ares. Eris is probably the one that looks the most like Ares. She's also known as Strife. Her power is like that. Like it's seeding discord and strife into the world. So she goes and frees Cersei, and that's who's behind all of this, right?
Okay.
Cersei's got these machinations going on, and what are these machinations? Well, first, what she's got to do is she's got to set up the fact that, like, the humans are not going to trust the Themyscirians, and how is she going to do that? Well, it's really a twofold process for her. Cersei's like, listen, I'm going to need a whole bunch of magic relics, all right? So I'm going to hire some folks to be part of my grand scheme, go out there and get those relics, but also make it look like the Themyscirians not only took them, but also killed people.
Okay.
So that literally...
she's got to frame the Themyscirians for these thefts.
Yes, even though...
We're just going to leave, like, Greek or Amazonian armor around, I guess.
Well, they do. Like, a lot of people are cleaved. So, like, by axes and things.
Right. It's like,
That
who
would
do
do
we
it.
know who uses axes? Maybe those
suddenly-
Themyscirians who just appeared.
They just appeared. All of a sudden, all of these thefts are going on. Not only are people being framed and they're dying, but a lot of people are acting out of character, including Hermes, the messenger god.
Yeah, he's a messenger.
He's also fast.
Also speed.
Yeah, he's got the little winged sandals.
Yeah, and he's got his little caduceus thing, catechus.
Oh, and the first Flash has that hat of Hermes with the little wings on it.
Yeah.
What does that mean? He's being like slow. He's not delivering messages.
No. Like
He's actually stealing messages and not delivering them.
he ends up like they like reform the gardens of like Hermes or whatever, right? And like Diana goes to like see him there, and like he immediately is like, I think that you need to bow down to me and show me how much I mean to you.
Oh.
Like, it's like a super inappropriate moment for Hermes where he's just like, behold my godliness, let's do this. And she's like,
Yeah, we don't really do that.
That's not like how you've ever been.
Yeah.
What? So they fight a little bit, and then she's like, something's really wrong with him, right? And then, it turns out it's not Hermes. She ends up freeing like her Hermes from a statue nearby, and it turns out who she is actually dealing with is Mercury.
Wait, Mercury also exists?
Yes.
The Roman versions of the Greek gods simultaneously are real.
Yes.
That is goddamn confusing.
Is there a Mars as well?
That's why it's called the War of the Gods.
Oh my god. Or not.
What? Okay. Did they know about that?
So here's what's funny too. There's a book back that like in the 80s, I guess early 90s, really the 80s. Back in the day, DC used to publish a thing called Who's Who. And Who's Who was like an educational like magazine they'd put out where it gave you like hey, this is the biography and information that we are using to write characters for our universe. So you could read that, right? And in one of them, Perez noted that they had said that like Ares and Mars were the same people and Hermes and Mercury were the same people, but he's like, that's not what I put in my book. So he's like,
You
I
may
gotta
have done
fix
that in Who's Who, but that's
Right.
wrong.
Well,
gotta
you know
fix that.
wrong because I didn't do that.
You are going to get some kids screwed up on their history lesson.
Yeah. Don't forget, for him, like, Hermes is a patron god of the Amazon. So he's like, no, this is important.
So we're in the event now?
No, we're
Oh,
not.
we're still not? Oh my god.
It's okay. We're like most of these books we're not going to talk about because
Okay.
we don't need to. Julia Capitellis, she's a doctor. She's important to the story, or at least to the Amazons in its own thing. It does not really matter to the whole story. She's acting funny. She's acting weird.
What?
She's not acting like herself. What's going on? Lots of people are acting funny.
Julia, what's wrong with
It's
you?
because Dr. Psycho's involved.
Oh.
Great.
Awesome.
You know, so he obviously has, you know, the power to take over people's minds. So a lot of people are acting a little funky, including Hermes, right? So we got him in the background doing things, making people act out of character.
He can make a god act differently.
It doesn't it like fogs his mind. It's not quite as powerful as being able to literally take over them. You know what I mean? So like he's able to do it for a bit. So we got Eris, who's like associated with Ares. We have Dr. Psycho, and Cersei also brings in Cheetah, because how could you have a Wonder Woman book without having Cheetah involved in some way, shape, or form, right? So she's not really in the War of the Gods books themselves, but she does a lot of things that lead up to things that are happening.
She should be the one stealing things. She's a cat burglar.
She does steal things because Cersei ends up basically like she sends like someone to like her room in Arkham where she is injected with this drug that like turns her bloodlust against her, and so like she's like addicted to whatever, so it's like her body will like consume itself.
Oh. It's like the lysine contingency in Jurassic Park. Unless continually supplied with lysine.
If we always need to bring it back to Jurassic Park, then yes. That is what it is like.
I mean, you don't need to.
But why wouldn't we?
But you
But
can.
it's right there. Oh, she also needs Cheetah, because not only will she be able to steal things, but she has a lot of knowledge as an archaeologist and enemy of Wonder Woman about Themyscira. So she needs a little more detail, and also there's just artifacts in general, because not all of these artifacts are Themyscirian. They're from all over, right? So she needs all these things, right?
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're at. The world hates Themyscira right now. They think the Amazons are assholes.
And this isn't called Amazon's Attack?
Because they didn't. They didn't. Well, some of them do, because there's also a subset of Amazons back in the day when Hippolyta, when the Amazons first came about, eventually they were betrayed by Hercules, who's not the same as Heracles, because Hercules is Roman and Heracles is Greek, named for Hera, against her desires for that one. Sometimes they say Heracles. Typically, it's like Hercules who came and like Ares was like, screw the Amazons, they suck, they shouldn't even exist, whatever, right? So like he convinces Hercules that like via
they do suck.
But like via a minion that goes like, oh man, the Amazons sure think that they're better than you. Hippolyta definitely thinks she's better than you, Hercules. What are you gonna do about it? So he gets a bunch of bro dudes. They go.
What did she say?
Yeah, and they
kick
fight.
her ass.
Hippolyta kicks his ass. Then they have like a big party, and then like inevitably like they betray the Amazons and like enslave them, and you know it's the enslavement of the Amazons, and that's why they wear their gauntlets. They should have just stuck with their morals and like whatever, right? But they didn't, and so then inevitably the gods free them, the ones who are their patrons, and Hippolyta and her sister Antiope split off. Antiope's group of Amazons go somewhere else, right? And they don't get immortality and all that crap, and they have to like kind of fold into man's world and like use men to have more Amazons essentially.
Right.
Okay.
And they become now I'm going to try to say this like 7 different ways, but we're going to give it a shot. The Bana Migdal, or the Bana Migdal, or whatever you want to call them, who are, to this day are actually involved in another Wonder Woman event.
I was going to say, didn't they come up? I remember some group like that coming up in like the last Wonder Woman story we did.
Yes, and also in a current ongoing Wonder Woman event right now, they are involved along with a bunch of Amazons that were just discovered from South America, which is funny because that's where Cersei's tower is right now, because Cersei technically has an island, but she can't use that because that's off limits to her, because in theory, people don't know she's back. So she's doing all this from like a tower, right?
Okay.
So she's got these Amazons, we got Cheetah, Dr. Psycho, and we got some Greek gods. And they're all doing something.
Right.
And
With all this shit.
And don't forget that no one trusts the Amazons, including Wonder Woman. Or Wonder Woman gets arrested at one point.
Oh.
And they're gonna like she's in Gotham. She gets arrested. I think Gordon's there. There's like a cop who's like kind of knows her. She looks at these bodies. They're clearly killed by Cheetah. They've got like animal scratches, and they're like, I don't know.
I don't know. It could have been a woman.
Looks like those could be sword scratches.
This is clearly Cheetah, and they're like, okay, fine, whatever, but they're gonna like arrest her anyway to hold her for further questioning. They go to put handcuffs.
We're not entirely sure, so we're just gonna arrest you out of safety.
Right? They go to put handcuffs on her. It immediately gives her like a flashback PTSD moment to the gauntlets, and she just takes off out of there. Gordon's like, what the hell? And I'm like, Jim.
Yeah.
This is so out of your league, man.
Yeah. Why?
Well, go talk to Batman, because
What
he's
were
not
you
gonna do
thinking?
anything at this event.
Yeah.
So anyway. Where the event actually begins, you need to know all of that, though. You had to know all of that, because otherwise the event just begins with the Fates calling forth Harmonia, other daughter of Ares, to be like, hey, listen, shit's about to get real, and you need to be involved.
Okay.
Like you don't
They're
even know.
important.
You don't know what be coming.
So Harmonia, I'm assuming, brings harmony to things, the opposite of strife.
Well, yeah, because don't forget her brother is Eros.
God of love.
Yeah, because like all of Ares' kids are begot by Aphrodite, at least here, right? So at least 2 of them were not going to be like him, I guess.
Right. You have a 50-50 chance. Yeah.
So.
Well, love and hate, war and peace.
Yeah, sure, right? I guess it's just opposites attract, right? So meanwhile, Diana is on Themyscira with some of the like remaining Amazons. Oh, because I forgot to mention, some of the Amazons are missing.
Oh,
they don't know where
just
they
missing?
are. Yeah, because they were in like man's world, right? And they were sent out different
come
places.
back.
They didn't come back. Either they've been arrested. I think
Right.
one of them is being held by the U.S. government. 3 of them, nobody knows where they are. And Queen Hippolyta, no one can find her.
Oh.
What about
Antiope?
Antiope, not antithesis.
We don't see Antiope at all,
Yeah.
right?
She's
so,
with
like,
the other group.
Really, they're just running on their own at this point. So
Right.
they need a new queen. So Wonder Woman's praying, like, why have the gods like forsaken us? They're not even like reaching out to us anymore. And there's like a whole like council going on of people being like, we gotta go back and kick man's ass.
Right.
And other people are like, that might not be a good look for us. I don't know if you know
They
this.
kind of hate us at the moment.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if you're aware of this. And then Hermes and Heracles show up and they're like, hey, okay. How come you haven't been helping us? They're like, listen, I'm really sorry about that. Anyway, shit is real messed up on Olympus. Diana, I need you to come with us.
Like, we got our own crap to deal with.
And Diana's like, I really have to deal with this. Like, no time. So Hermes just takes her and leaves Heracles there. And they go to New Olympus, which is like a newly built, fresh
New
smelling-
Olympus?
Yes, fresh
Yeah.
smelling Olympus.
It's on the moon.
Brand new. So she goes there.
I guess because you can like climb Olympus and they're not friggin' there, so they
yeah,
have to be
they're
somewhere
like,
else.
They're somewhere else, right? And so like they.
No, old Olympus is busted, and we need
Yeah,
a
it's old
cool
and
new
busted.
Olympus.
We
It's
need-
all like
It's super hot.
technologically
Well,
advanced.
humans got technology and crap, and they like came up
dance
here
club.
looking for us, and so we had to go somewhere else.
Exactly. So she gets there. It's all like it's overwhelming. They fix it so that she can like comprehend it because she's technically mortal, right? Like, oh, like you can't comprehend that which the gods have, and then like she's like, cool,
Okay.
whatever. I think Zeus is down for the count for whatever reason. They're like, what
Oh.
happened to Zeus? I don't understand. Meanwhile, there's like a green cloaked figure nearby. They're like, he just watches. We don't know what's up with him.
Why don't you go ask him?
No.
Hey, what's
No,
up with
he
you?
doesn't respond.
He doesn't
He
speak.
just watches.
He doesn't speak.
It's
Also,
like he's some kind of watcher.
Also, if you look above, there's Donna Troy's up there.
What?
And she's just frozen in energy. Just
Donna Troy?
Donna Troy.
Why?
Why?
Because we need her to be in this book.
She's got to be in the book. She's got to be. It's
Because
a
she was
Wonder
on,
Woman book.
She was on the Titans. She was one of the characters that he needed.
Ah.
Donna Troy's here. She was available, I suppose. So Donna Troy is here, right?
She's not doing anything. She's frozen.
And she's not known as Donna Troy right now or Wonder Girl. She's Troya.
Okay.
She had a run
Noted.
Noted. She had a run-in with the Titans of Myth. They gave her a whole new costume, and she's gonna basically be a decoration for most of this book, okay? But like she's there, right? But there's no time to think about that because Harmonia is trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So she goes to the River Styx, where she takes the boat across with Charon, Charon, the ferryman, right?
Yeah.
There's a brief moment where Clarion, the witch boy, shows up.
Cool.
Okay.
I'm not even going to get into that, but we just need to know he's there, right? And he's a mischievous character. Him and his cat Teakle, they're there. They will come into play later.
Okay.
But like she falls into the River Styx, which is like, where do you go if you fall into the River Styx? Especially if you're a god, what happens? It's cool. She's falling within water, presumably forever. She's grabbed by someone. It looks like a centurion. It's the son of Vulcan, which everyone, of course, knows who that is, right?
Yeah, it's the son of Vulcan.
Nah. Son of Vulcan's like a dude who like ended up getting the gifts of the Roman god of the hearth, who is Vulcan. I'm like, who is it? It's Vulcan. So he like has superpowers because of that. He wears a big V on his belt and he has a big V shield. But like, he's like, hey, things are bad. And Harmonia's like, I know, I talked to the Fates. So these two are going to work together to try to undermine the machinations of Cersei. You've got these two. Okay?
What does this have to do with Wonder Woman?
Because gods...
She's there.
So Wonder Woman's hanging out with the Olympus crew, right?
And they wanted her for something specific, right?
But yes, because like things are messed up. It doesn't feel right in New Olympus, right? And as they're having further conversations, remember those big like cloaked people I told you that were on the River Styx?
Yeah.
After Harmonia, right before Harmonia got pushed in?
Yeah.
They reveal themselves, and it's the Roman pantheon. And they're like, we're gonna kick your ass for taking Olympus from us.
Oh. We roll it in and taking shit over.
And you know who they got with them? They got a little boy. And they're like, we brought our champion, bring on yours. Go ahead, kiddo, say it. And he goes, Shazam.
Oh, that's why he needed.
It just all goes to hell, right? Like, it's just everybody be fighting. And that's when Cersei's like, it's time. Because what Cersei's been doing is been casting a spell called the Hellfire Ring or Web. And it just sends magic all over the world, right? And like we see a bunch of characters who may or may not be in the book. It's fine, right?
Oh, that's cool, right? That's like extra magic for everybody.
Okay, so
I really appreciate your optimism.
so
when
this
it
is the
comes to Cersei.
crossover, right? This thing that goes all around the world is gonna go into everyone's books and fuck up their books.
No.
Oh, no?
But like yes, but no.
Okay.
No and yes. Okay. So anyway, even Darkseid.
Oh,
man,
Darkseid. Oh, it's such a big event.
He has a weird image from a boom tube to our world, I guess.
He's checking it out. He's like, something's messed up
what's
over
going
there.
on in Earth?
Energy's real bad.
Oh, I'm not going to Earth.
What's going
Listen.
on over there?
So Cersei's plan is, let's just get to the heart of it.
Yeah,
What is
just
Cersei's
tell
plan?
us her
Cersei's
friggin'
plan is, because Cersei, what do we remember from the last time I did a Wonder Woman event? What do we know about Cersei? Who is her goddess?
I don't remember.
Her goddess is Hecate. Right? Do you remember when Hecate took over Wonder Woman's body and like was going to like destroy everything, and she wanted to take magic back, and there was this whole thing.
Yeah, vaguely.
Because like Cersei and Wonder Woman have a connection to Hecate, right? And Hecate was this very sad goddess who like was taken advantage of and all this crap. Hecate wants hers in this.
Yeah.
Hecate's plan is to basically reshape Genesis in her vision.
Oh, okay.
So like, I will undo everything and reshape everything. And Cersei's like,
So like,
I'm
man's world
down.
sucks.
Everything sucks. I'm getting rid of all of it. I'm getting rid of the Greeks, the Romans, all of them. Bye-bye.
So she's engineering this battle between the Greek and Roman gods.
Well, the Greek
to, like,
and the
weaken
Roman.
them?
Okay, so no, we're engineering the fight between the Greek and Roman gods first because Eris is like, hey, all of that discord and strife will strengthen me, and then I can fight my dad and I can take over. Because like Cersei's understanding is that like we're gonna remake this world. She's gonna get that. I'm gonna get whatever. It's gonna be great. Additionally, all that extra energy is certainly helping Cersei. It's also keeping everybody really focused, right? Like New Olympus, focused. Meanwhile, other random pantheon gods that are not Greek and Roman are shooting up all over the world, being like, time to get some, because they're all driven a little crazy by the magic.
Oh.
Well, they got theirs. I want mine too.
Yeah,
So
like,
like
maybe,
Norse gods or?
Yeah, they show up.
Okay.
Like there's like
That's cool.
Aztec, there's Babylonian, like they all show up. They're just like, hey, maybe I'll reshape Genesis like me, whatevs. And they're like, they all of a sudden, after they're defeated, typically go like, oh crap. And then they disappear. And so we don't get to find out what is oh crap.
Oh wait, no one likes me anymore.
Oh no. Meanwhile, before I get to the actual like crux of like what ends up happening,
Right.
the green cloaked character whom I hate.
Is it the Spectre?
No.
Oh.
I wish it was the Spectre. I had hoped it was the Spectre.
Yeah.
The Spectre is in this book. Of course he
Oh.
is. The Spectre's in this book. Phantom Stranger's in this book. Madame Xanadu's in this book. Zatanna's in this book. Dr. Fate, but not that Dr. Fate, his wife, Dr. Fate.
Oh.
They're in this book because we need magic characters. They gotta
Right,
show
they're
up.
all
They gotta
there.
do things because they gotta fight Cersei, and they do all these things. They cross over with Animal Man. They cross over with this other guy, that Geoforce that nobody cares about. We gotta save Gaia. We gotta stop Cersei's Beastamorphs. We gotta do all of this.
Beastamorphs?
Yeah, because technically Cersei is known to like turn men or people into animals, but then she also uses other powers to turn them into Beastamorphs, which are like werewolves. Basically, they're just big, strong versions of them.
But it's different than Animorphs, which is a cool book series, apparently.
Yeah. Or
they cool?
Beast Wars, which is a
Never read anything.
Transformers thing? Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, we use Animal Man to stop that plot point, right? Like, there's just all these random things that are occurring, right?
Right.
A lot of it is smoke and mirrors for Cersei because she's trying to complete this spell.
Do we get Swamp Thing in here too?
Something is not in here. Green cloaked guy, though, plays up an important role in annoying the hell out of me because I then had to learn a lot about him. And
Like, oh, I don't care.
I hate him. Like,
is
on
he?
every conceivable level. You
I have
know
to
him.
know.
It's Pariah.
I don't know who Pariah is.
You don't?
I remember.
What was
the
Pariah
name.
in?
Pariah showed up in Crisis, the first Crisis.
Oh, we did that a long time ago.
His job is to be sad.
That's not much of a job.
I mean,
His,
sounds like it does a good job.
his job is to. Okay,
Be
so
pathetic.
he. Oh, God. Okay.
To be a pariah?
Pariah's. He's a pariah in my heart. Pariah's job is that. Okay. Pariah's came from. Okay. I can't even. I'm so mad at him. I hate him.
Meanwhile, Pariah's like,
Yeah, I suck.
You're just the worst. And
Yeah.
God.
I know, I really am.
He came from like another dimensional Earth, which they changed it at one point. It doesn't matter because from another place. And like there, he was like top scientist. He was freaking amazing. He solved all these problems, and everybody loves him. He was super dope. He had a whole family. The family was like, oh man, like, you know, like you gotta hang out with us. Like, oh, the kids got hurt or whatever. There's just literal this moment, and I can't. It's just in my brain now forever. He's trying to solve this scientific thing where he wants to peer, and he finds out there's other Earths, and he wants to know more about them. Obviously, this is before Crisis.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to peek on them, even though there's literally a prophecy in my culture that says don't do that. I'm going to do it anyway. His kids are like playing, they get hurt. His wife's like, hey, you got to come help. The kids got hurt. And he's like, I'm not helping. I'm doing science. Get away. She's like, you know,
I'm busy.
Get away.
when you were younger, like, you know, you were so much more loving. And he's like, no, I knew I needed to get married, and you were convenient. But you and the kids are really just a nuisance.
You're holding me back from being
What?
the thing I could become.
Right? So, like, I'm like, super cool guy.
Wow.
So he's a pariah to his own family.
So he creates like this antimatter cube, and he goes into it, and then he believes that like him doing that in order to peek into the universe destroys his planet via antimatter waves, which is actually not what it is. The anti-monitor, it is in a way though, because he triggered the because he went into anti-matter, right? The anti-monitor, was like, wait, there's an Earth over here? And he destroyed it.
I'm getting a ping.
My thing went off. So then, like, he gets stuck in the antimatter universe for like a million years or whatever. He's just floating around in there, and he's just like, oh, he's messed up so bad. He's just destroyed. Kill my family or whatever.
My family that I hated.
I see them. I see their deaths over and over again. It's all my fault. And that's his thing.
It is.
So he just goes. His powers. He goes from place to place when something horrific's gonna happen, and he just cries. He just cries the harbinger of bad things.
So that's bad.
He's just a sad man. He's just like, no, you don't understand. I'm sad, and my family died. I see it over and over again.
Oh.
Superman's like, my entire people were destroyed
No,
as well.
I am
Look
the
at me.
saddest person ever.
No, I did it. Don't you understand?
It was me. I was probably there. I probably cried at your planet too. It's all my fault.
Okay.
I suck.
All I'm saying is
sorry.
you could get over it.
But he's here because he's like, oh crap, something bad's gonna happen here. So
Ah.
he shows up and he's crying.
Is it because he shows up? Is he causing it?
So he's like a cross between like the Watcher and the Silver Surfer.
Yeah, he also can't die. So like he's stuck with his misery forever, and I'm like, good.
So whenever things go
deserve
really
it.
wrong, he's like called to it.
He's just like, oh, I'm here. Oh no.
Oh, sounds like things are going real bad for you.
I
I'm
always
here.
see my family and they die. It just
Yeah, what's that have to do with me?
Whenever I get summoned, things just get real bad and
so
shitty.
sad. I don't care about you. I just care about my family, and they died.
Cool. Get out of here.
No, because
Not
your
until you
planet's
care
gone.
about me and my family.
Sorry.
I stick around until everything dies, and then I go on to the
and
next
I
one.
gotta go. Poof.
Yikes.
He's like a sad Harrison Ford.
So
Let me
he's
tell you about my family.
here, and like, there's literally a great moment in this.
We bang pots and pants together and tell him
No, Deathstroke gives him an amazingly hard time, and like, I freaking love it because first of all, Deathstroke's on like in a Titans book, which I'm like, lol, why are you here? But you are. Uncle Sam.
Yeah, that was Uncle Sam.
Yeah, it's the actual. It's Uncle Sam. He's the living
Oh my
embodiment.
God, was that?
America.
It's Hawk.
That's Hawk. Okay.
Hawk also sucks. There's a great moment in here too where Hawk's eating cereal and he like yells about it. Like he's grumpily eating cereal in a warehouse, and he's just like, I suck.
He's not even eating it in a bowl. He's just eating it out of the box.
And I'm like, Hawk,
which isn't wrong.
I'm like, you should go hang out with Pariah. You two be a great pair. Anyway,
Awesome.
basically Pariah's like, you know, like trying to get away. They're like, they're trying to hang on to him because like he knows where Donna Troy is, and like Deathstroke grabs him as he's trying to like escape out the window because he could fly, and like Pariah's like, you don't understand. My family, I lost them. I suffered. And Deathstroke goes, who hasn't? Pariah's like, what?
What?
Well, you think you're the only person in all of existence that's ever suffered anything?
Yes.
Well, you're wrong!
And he leaves. He's just like, no, but I am. And it's
Oh, God, I'm wrong. It's even worse.
Yeah, but it's my fault. Is it your fault?
What? So, sometimes it is.
Sometimes. I'm freaking Deathstroke, yes.
Look at Batman. He blames himself for everything. Anyway, no.
Yeah, but I really am responsible.
No, all right.
The prophecy. Oh, I should have listened.
I hate you. At one point, they look up into the sky in this event and they see Pariah laughing. And they're like, why is he laughing? That's new.
Yeah, that's not good.
New.
What's he got to laugh about?
Because what Hecate didn't quite reveal to everybody, and by everybody I mean Cersei, about her plan, is that if she does what she wants and basically blinks all the pantheons out of existence and tries to rewrite Genesis, she's gonna blink herself out of existence and there will be zero existence. Pariah's like, with zero existence, Pariah ceases to exist and his suffering will be at an end. So Pariah's like this close to being like, I'll do whatever it takes to get Cersei to make this happen.
Oh, so he's on her side.
He's not on anyone's side, but
Is Cersei aware of this as well now?
by the end of the book she will be, but it's like in the last few pages she's like, no! And then she withers and dies, so it doesn't really matter.
So, well, wait a minute. Isn't Pariah from like another universe?
Yeah.
So if Hecate succeeds, she's gonna get rid of all the universes?
Well, no, because they folded all the multiverses in. There aren't any
anymore. That's
because
right.
of Crisis. Crisis happened, they folded all them all in there.
Oh,
so
all Pariah needs is for this one last remaining universe
to blink out of existence, and he's free.
Oh.
Because he's such a good guy, and his life is way more important than everyone else's.
I mean, to him it is.
I mean,
that's actually what I think. That's what actually Deathstroke says to him. He's like, "Oh yeah, you think your life's like more important than everyone else?" He's like, "I suffered," and he's like, "I hate you.
You're the worst."
She is the worst, and he's gonna be the villain of an upcoming DC event.
Oh God.
Oh no.
So that's the plan.
So Hecate's what? She's gathering these
Cersei's
items.
gathering all these items, right? She's casting the spell. She's gotta like do this, but one of the things on her list that she's gonna do is she's gonna kill Diana.
Sure.
And so she like they go to Themyscira and like she meets her on the beach and they battle. And Superman is there.
Is that what this is depicting?
Yeah, I guess it is. But that's not how it goes down. She's not in that.
It covers a lot.
This is depicting the last issue.
Oh,
but like at the end of issue 2, they battle and Cersei picks this specific place to battle Wonder Woman on purpose. Because it's the beach in which Hippolyta formed Wonder Woman. So Cersei utilizes a spell to devolve her back into clay.
Oh.
That's funny.
And she's gone.
Oh.
She had to do that so that she wouldn't just be a lump of clay on the ground, though?
No, it's just like, part of the spell.
You can only do the spell in the you can only be returned to what you were when you were born in the place where you were born. And I'm sure
it's a place of power and it all works, so like...
Well, sure.
Bam, done. Oh, this is also after Diana almost kills her mom.
What?
Because remember when I said that Hippolyta was missing and the Bana Migdal or Migdal needed a queen? Well, Cersei made that happen by taking the cursed cup of Hercules and like treating it with the special metal that the Bana Migdal use. She drinks out of it because they brought it as part of their like emissary trip to like going there to like be like, look, we are trusting you, man's world. They both share wine, her and some other diplomatic representative, right? And later on, she drinks out of it again, or else like holding it, and like the metal from that goes onto her and makes them into her, like makes her into their queen. So she's like, don't worry, now you got a queen. So Diana ends up trying to find her mom by using like her lasso in this goblet, chases her into the desert, ends up finding Lobo. He's involved in the book.
What?
Lobo shows up.
What?
So when Diana and Shazam were fighting one another, a like bolt of energy hit them and separated them.
Okay.
And like somehow a psychic who Lobo was hanging out with diverted the spirit of Shazam, and so he goes there and then like leaves before Lobo can kick his ass, and so Lobo's not gonna take that sitting down. So he comes to Earth to kick his ass. So now Lobo's involved, right?
How dare you deny me a good fight,
right?
Main man.
That's exactly it. So he's fighting all these Amazons, right? The other Amazon tribe. Queen shows up, but she's wearing this mask. You can't tell who it is. So like Diana like blocks a bolt that she throws at her, hits her, almost kills her, reveals it's her mom.
Oh, no.
So her mom's down for the count, has no idea her daughter's dead.
Right.
So Diana's dead, everybody's sad.
And Pariah's just like, oh, but you don't know what sadness is.
Yeah, you don't know what it is. I killed my family.
You think you're sad? I'm sad.
Yeah. So, like, Shazam's part of this
Get out of
story.
here, Pariah.
Yeah, just go away. Could you just not be here? No, they have to keep an eye on him because they're afraid he's gonna tell Cersei their plan.
Oh.
Because they do have a plan.
Okay.
All right. So
Wonder Woman's dead.
Yeah, we got a plan
Now
for that.
what?
We got a plan for that.
Oh.
Got a plan for that. It's okay. Got a
No,
plan for that.
she's
Make
not
her out
dead.
of clay
She's
again.
devolved.
Yeah, we also
You just
got
have to reform her.
Yeah, you just gotta fix it.
Bigger. She'll be 20 feet tall.
Yeah. That was the problem.
We didn't go big enough.
Paul, I didn't think big enough. That's where we went wrong.
We need more clay.
You know
You can
what?
make someone out of clay. Just make them arbitrarily
Give her
gigantic.
4 arms.
Yeah.
Why not?
Give her, why
Yeah,
it's
she'll be like
4?
Goro.
30.
Well, I stopped there. How about wings?
There you go. That's actually a really good idea.
She would hold her sword, her shield, and the lasso.
Yeah, but it's creepy
And a
looking.
bow.
Wings look badass.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I feel like I guess they gotta be able. If they can close, you're fine.
They got to be able to fold up on your back.
Yeah, because otherwise, man's world's gonna be real hard.
Yeah.
When Shazam came back to Earth, he had to use the rest of his power, and now he's just Billy Batson, and he can't turn into Shazam, and he's like dying.
Oh.
Because also, like, all the gods are warring.
Well, that
and,
doesn't sound like a
that's
problem at all, because he was fighting Wonder Woman before.
Well,
so.
yeah,
Does
but
that
that's because
have anything to do
he
with
was messed
Zeus?
up. Well, Zeus is one of the letters.
Yeah.
Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, and Mercury. Okay?
Okay.
The wizard Shazam tried to get all the Greek pantheon, but they didn't always answer, so some of the Roman pantheon is there.
Yeah, that's why Mercury is
Plus
there.
also Solomon.
Yeah, and yes. Well, it was the wisdom of Solomon.
Right.
It was his relationship with Solomon in the first place that got him to do this, because he's just like...
Honorary god.
Well, no, he died, and so like when Solomon died, you know, the wizard Shazam was so like, you know, like overwhelmed with his greatness as a king that he like used his magic to take some of his knowledge,
They scooped
his
out his
wisdom.
brain.
They have to put Shazam back together basically, and so what they've been like, what
Just like,
just,
get
come on,
together.
but he's got to get all the powers back.
Right.
But they're all fighting. So like Harmonia and the son of Vulcan have been like randomly taking players from the field.
oh.
So
Okay.
like they just randomly just disappear. There's like a lightning bolt and they're gone, and then like everyone accuses Zeus or Jupiter of doing something.
I saw lightning. That was you.
It was you. It wasn't me. It was you.
Okay. I know it's normally me.
I know what it looks like.
It weren't me though.
I'm not the only one who has lightning.
Yeah. So it takes the essence. They put them into the metal men to hold them right now.
The what? The metal men?
The metal men are
Metal
these.
men.
The metal men are these robots that were created by this doctor to help fight whatever. They have the symbols of elements
Different
on
metals.
them. He created this chick at one point, and like he thought she was like too like touchy feely, so then he created all these other guys. Listen, it's sci-fi. The metal men exist. I think they still exist to this day. But they have these symbols on them, and some of them do go with gods, and it drives me crazy that they didn't end up in their gods, but they're really for their like element. So it's like lead and gold and titanium and whatever. And they end up using them, and like Black Adam is actually there, you know, Shazam's enemy.
yeah.
And he has to help recreate him because he's like, without him, you don't get to do this either, basically. So he's got to help.
Okay.
And also Lobo's there.
And Lobo's there as well.
He's just
Great.
waiting for a fight.
You just need to know that Lobo's there. No, Lobo like was put to sleep by Son of Vulcan. He used his power. He's like, go
Oh, I
sleep.
pinched his neck.
Yeah. He's like, shh, shh. He calls upon Morpheus and Spock and he puts him to sleep. So Shazam comes back as we simultaneously bring Diana back because yes, what they do is Hippolyta reawakens and they bring her to the pyre because they basically collected all the clay and her uniform and they put it into the fire to burn her as they
No,
normally
that's gonna
would.
harden her into a kiln.
They didn't. It didn't. And so she's like reforming her, and there's all these people, like all the Amazons are waiting there with her. And like, meanwhile, Diana's spirit, when it like left, was on its way to where she was gonna go.
Space.
To like the afterlife. No, she was gonna go to her afterlife.
Okay.
But the witch boy Clarion went no and yoinked her spirit and sent it basically to hell.
Oh.
shit.
You could just do that?
Yeah, he just did that. Where she has
What about Teakle?
Yeah.
Like getting a no rules kind of feel from
no
this story.
Rules! No rules! It's gods and magic! Screw you!
Oh, that's the crazy thing is that magic is going rampant everywhere. So
so it's all messed up. So
Why
he
not?
does that because like Cersei didn't expect him to do that. So of course that's going to happen because he's going to screw with people. That's all he wants to do, right?
Sure,
so like
okay.
we have a whole issue with her and Etrigan. It's really weird and it's very bizarre. And like if you're reading Etrigan, I guess that's what you're used to. But fine. But like
I'm not, so it
she
sucks.
utilizes this opportunity to take control, and she leaves. Her spirit leaves and heads back for Earth, where she runs into Spectre, Phantom Stranger, and Deadman.
Ah.
Which is interesting because Deadman would later feature in another Wonder Woman story, so with her death. So anyway, they're just kind of like waiting on this whole thing. The other magic users, Madame Xanadu, Dr. Fate, Zatanna, they're all trying to like keep Cersei in the dark. They're trying to like keep her from like realizing that they're trying to bring Diana back and they're going to bring Shazam back. Like they're just like, okay, just keep her fogged as much as possible.
Zatanna, do some tricks. Pull a rabbit out of the head.
No, they're all channeling
Do some
together.
close-up magic.
They're all channeling one another, like with one another, to like amplify their magic. They're doing that. The final war is really occurring. The gods are still fighting each other until finally Ares shows up because he's a moment of clarity after his daughter Eris tries to kill him. Harmonia stops her, and then his son kills Harmonia. Phobos kills Harmonia.
Oh shit.
And he like ends up like getting rid of Mars for a second. He feels real bad about it. He like is like, wait a minute. He starts talking to Mars. They like kind of have this moment where they're all talking to like some of the other gods, because some of the other gods who are present on
And
Earth.
they become bros?
Yeah, they're all bros.
Like, wait a minute. Who told you that you need to fight me? What are we doing?
Some of the other gods who arrived on Earth are also war gods. And in space, the new gods and Apocalypse are fighting.
Oh.
Darkseid is fighting Orion because
Yeah,
even they inevitably are taken in by Cersei's magic and they can't help but fight one another.
Okay.
Which makes sense for
Pretty
them.
big magic.
But like, damn.
Trust me, Darkseid's not pleased.
Nah.
But like all the war gods go like, wait a minute.
Hang on.
So like they like arrive like Mufasa over the rest of like New Olympus, which by the way, at this point, Cersei's magic has brought New Olympus into the orbit of Earth, so the end is nigh at this point.
Like you can see it up there.
It's right there.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's not gonna work. And like eventually it's just gonna push Earth out of the way.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. So so that's like, and like the heroes are going. Like the heroes are finally like, oh man, Batman's gonna stay in Gotham. He's not gonna really help. I think
He can't actually fly.
he throws a batarang at someone, but he like his team tries to help.
Oh,
He does not really do anything.
Does he
gets mad
enact
at,
the protocol that turns Gotham into like an island that
Nope.
separates from?
No, he basically just is annoyed at Diana because he's like, I don't know if I can trust you because they're Mascarians, and I don't want to be in this
'cause
event.
they've been stealing stuff.
I don't want to be in this event. Superman's there.
Fine, fuck off then.
Justice League's there. The
Oh,
Titans
wow.
are there. There's an amazing moment with like what's left of the Titans because like Wally West is Flash. He in this book gets to race Hermes and Mercury. Hermes ends up having to borrow some of his Speed Force to try to beat Mercury. It's really fun, but like he ends up having to join what's left of the Titans, and like it's just garbage characters. Sorry, fans of Red Star and Panther.
Sorry, they are
But like
garbage.
they're like hanging out, and like Panther's like, "Listen, man, you got like what's gnawing at you?" And he's like, excuse me, Panther, is it?" But and like that
Sorry,
is word
Panther?
that is word for word what he writes. I
Really?
am not summarizing that because at this point Perez is like, "I don't care anymore."
Yeah.
I will shit on your book.
Panther, is it?
Yes.
I was supposed to be on a team with the Titans, my friends,
Yeah.
not you
The
weirdos.
actual Titans
Like,
that
it is-
anyone
It
knows.
is a spectacular moment, and I want to get that panel blown up and like put somewhere. I freaking love it.
What happens with Troya? Is she
Yeah.
still frozen or whatever?
So Troya is frozen. Yes, absolutely.
Why is she so important? Why is that a thing?
Because
Who
she's
froze
gonna,
her?
she's going. Well, Cersei did because she didn't know what to do with her.
Freeze.
You're Diana, but you're not. I can't deal with you. Freeze.
So after Ares comes before the other gods and goes like, "Listen,
Stop.
if you keep fighting, you're strengthening Cersei, and she's going to blink everything out of existence." They're like, "I believe you."
I know this is really out of character for me. I need everyone to stop
Stop.
fighting.
Right, and so
fighting.
they stop, and then I think it's Hades or it's Pluto. I think it's Hades. He's there, and like there's like this rumbling, and everyone's like, "What the hell is that?" And he's like, "Oh, that would be Hecate, you know, my jilted lover, taking control of the underworld." And that's when a whole bunch of dead superheroes show up and start fighting for Cersei.
Oh.
What?
Including like Vigilante, which I'm just like, huh. It's just all skeletal like heroes show up. And they're just like,
cool.
So they're all fighting. So the gods are fighting, the heroes are fighting, skeletons are there.
Skeleton warriors?
Skeleton warriors are there. Satana's dad shows back up. He's a skeleton. He's like, rah! It's like, you suck. She's like, ah!
Is he sawed in half?
No. But like that like disrupts the channeling. So then Cersei's like, you're trying to bring Diana back. So she lets loose a huge bolt of magic across the world to stop it from happening.
Wait, is Diana like not in the book for like multiple issues?
So like she's not in issue 3 because she's
we're just in issue 3 with all this?
Well, I'm jumping around here.
Okay.
A little bit. Like, so she's not in issue 3.
Yeah.
Where everyone just is like trying to deal with Beastamorphs.
Yeah, but she's still not there during this big.
She comes back halfway through issue 4, basically.
Okay.
So she hurls this magic bolt, goes across. Superman sees it and goes, "I have to stop that."
But because he's weak to magic.
Yep, but he's Superman.
Oh. Okay.
So he takes off after it, and he does hit it, and it like knocks him down real good, but it keeps going. So the bolt's headed for Hippolyta, who's like just putting the finishing touches on everything.
The new Wonder Woman.
Oh, I just have to get this right. Boom! Half her face is gone. Yeah. Oh, that's not gonna
so
look
Penelope
good.
jumps in the way of it, and she dies.
Oh, major character death.
Sort of, not really.
Well, that's interesting because if she's an oracle, that just means they can't know the future.
Yeah, I mean, someone else can
also,
be trained.
she's dead, so that's sad.
There is also that. She's dead, and that is...
No, it's just they just can't know the future. That's no big deal.
Yeah.
Well, a person died, man.
No, it's cool.
No,
it's
she
cool.
wasn't a person. She was an oracle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Doesn't count.
She looked into her own future. She saw her own death. She's like, well, I can't escape this. Bam.
Yeah.
Do they bring, are some of the dead superheroes like people who didn't make it in Crisis? Like, is Supergirl there?
No, we don't see that. We don't see everybody. We just see like a handful of superheroes.
This is the end of the book.
So
I thought we were on issue 5 or something.
No, it's issue 4. It's the end of the book. It's issue 4.
Well, this book is huge. Of the main story.
So this book is printed supposedly in order, and by supposedly I mean because it's like at the beginning of these you'll see things like War of the Gods 7, right? Unless they didn't put it on them because some books shipped without the label that they were part of the War of the Gods.
So you had no idea you were reading it until you bought it.
Some of the books shipped out of order. Like it's just this book is cursed and is a nightmare.
Okay.
But it's kind of cool. Shazam's brought back. Penelope dies. Hippolyta finishes her spell, presumably, or her prayers, right? Cersei is hit by magic as well and disappeared. You asked about Troya.
Yeah.
Lobo grabs Troya, and you're like, why does Lobo grab Troya? Well,
Please tell me he doesn't try and kiss her and wake her up.
Nah, man. Nah, because Lobo ends... Okay, so Lobo goes to New Olympus because Son of Vulcan's like, let's bring him with us. I have a plan here. I think I know what's going to happen, so it's going to be fine. But Lobo can't handle everything he's seeing because all the superheroes are like, this is messed up because New Olympus affects mortals differently. So they're all having a really hard time controlling their powers and also processing what they're seeing. Lobo's just in a catatonic state. Then Son of Vulcan...
It's because it rocks, right? He's just like, I'm so awed.
I'm so into this right now.
This is great.
I can't,
all the songs that would rock out to?
I can't even.
This.
So Son of Vulcan is killed by Cersei, right? But in doing so, he ends up dropping his power and consciousness briefly into Lobo. So he uses Lobo's body and grabs Troya.
Oh.
And then like takes her. The final battle is going to take place in Kronos' graveyard.
Okay.
Okay?
Very disrespectful.
Because, no, it all makes sense because she's weakened there, but so is everybody. She's like, fine, how many times are they going to think that they can shove me here and think that this is going to work out for them, right? It's so stupid.
I already broke out once.
Donna Troy is there, and that's when Wonder Woman reveals, I'm back, and I got all this armor on, check me out. So they start fighting. Meanwhile, back in New Olympus / also on Earth, the magic users have figured out how they're going to solve this problem, right? And here's how they're going to solve this problem. Okay, so representatives from the different godly pantheons, a handful of them, the ones that basically showed up, are going to come together and make a plea to the supreme power that created the supreme power. Because Cersei, because Cersei's under the belief that like Hecate has the supreme power, but then who created that supreme power?
Right.
The Titans did. Kronos did.
Okay.
But Kronos is dead.
Yeah, but we're gonna make it work anyway.
Are they gonna reanimate his body and just be like, oh, Hecate, you fucked up?
No.
That is really in poor taste.
Hang on. So Cersei's battling them. They basically told her the gist of what I told you earlier, that like if Hecate's plans work, everything's gonna be blinked out of existence. She's
including her.
Yeah, she's like, no. She doubles down. She attacks Diana. Diana utilizes a gift that she has that's like made from the clay from which she sprung or whatever, right? Like she got a mirror basically. She uses the mirror. It deflects Cersei's bolt into Donna Troy. Tunic.
Okay.
So why is that important? Because Donna Troy's current outfit, her getup here, was gifted to her by the Titans of Myth.
Right.
It's made out of like some.
That's why it looks like it's space
cloth,
or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a portal, and so they basically like supercharge it. And then Phantom Stranger shows up and is like, and now I'll do my part, because my contribution to this has been so far
a wet fart.
Essentially, he shows up, he knows a couple of things, he stands around looking menacing and cool, I guess.
Yeah.
He helps to get Animal Man, and then he's like, I have to go. I have places to be. And everyone's like, dude.
Oh my God, it's almost time for dinner.
I gotta stop eating the book right now.
So then he literally says, do what you must, Animal Man. You have your part to play in this convoluted drama, and I have mine.
And what would that be?
And that part was?
To show up here.
To show up at the end.
There.
I showed up at the end.
And do a
Behold,
thing.
all these.
Skip to the end.
Yeah. So, like, for example, Lobo is going to be the representative of the Roman pantheon because Son of Vulcan's energy is still within him, right?
Oh boy, we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
Right.
To get
Well,
representatives.
Dr. Fate's there. Like, Shair.
What's he representative of?
She.
Oh, she.
She's representing,
Right.
I believe, the Egyptian gods.
Okay. Yeah, the Egyptian god, Dr. Fate. Yeah.
No, it's
yeah.
Nabu.
Ah.
But yeah, so there's a bunch of like different heroes there. Ice is there to represent the Norse, like so they're there. And
Oh,
they
I
all
see. People who have like bits
connection.
of power.
They come as
from-
emissaries basically, and they go like, I am
Not
told.
the actual like gods
No,
themselves.
I am told
okay.
that I represent my pantheon, and I say, yay! We pray to the supreme beings, come forth and help.
I see.
And so like Diana's doing her thing, Donna Troy's yelling as like energy's going into her. And then Cersei melts away, and Hecate shows up and is like, okay, bring it. Because it's like a prophecy that like upon the death of a witch and the birth of a witch, Hecate by name and choice shall repossess her soul. So she's like, Cersei died, I'm here, I'm gonna take you, Diana. Which would happen in Witching Hour. I thought that was cool. That like Tynan clearly read this.
Yeah. Well, and he homaged it.
And he homaged
or ripped it off.
Or whatever you want to say, right? So then Diana utilizes her lasso to hold Hecate where she is. All the folks they brought to represent everybody.
The lasso works like that?
Oh yeah, it
Damn.
does. Oh yeah, it does.
Lasso has many powers.
It does have many powers. She also not quite fully formed yet. You know what I mean? She's like a
Yeah, it's like this
loud.
ghost thing, or
She's almost a weird marshmallow worm.
Yeah, and so they all pray, and then like she's like, "Okay, Lord Kronos, she's all yours." And Kronos just explodes her,
Oh.
and everyone's like can see it, and they're like, "Dude."
Oh. Shit.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Kronos is still here?
Oh,
Oh, damn, son.
oh no. Oh, Donna Troy shows back up on New Olympus. She's all like shiny and like whatever, and Zeus is like, "Okay, I get it." So like, what happens?
Hey, baby.
Hey,
What's up? I'm Zeus.
Hera's like,
Swan.
she's like, I'm not into swans and I'm married. No, she basically Kronos talks through Donna Troy's portal tunic,
Right.
and says like, listen, we have found a new place to be. You should come here, Greek pantheon, because there's like new people to inspire.
Oh.
And so the Greek pantheon leaves,
What?
and
What?
the Roman take over.
Holy crap, that's
What?
insane.
Yeah, and Superman is sad because Penelope died. Because she's like, but I didn't.
Because that also happened.
He's
in
like-
the book.
Couldn't save
I
someone.
couldn't save
he's
everybody.
like, I wasn't fast enough. So we got like a little cadre from Crisis. So you got Harbinger, Pariah, and Lady Quark, who were all involved in some way, shape, or form. Harbinger has been there because she was important when they were trying to do the Diana and like Shazam bring back, because she can be in two places at once, because she can make like, holograms of herself or whatever, right?
Oh, so she can communicate with both teams.
Yeah,
Tell them the plan.
yeah. She's like a human walkie-talkie. You could just use Jean.
Marshmallow, yeah, he's like, for once, I don't have to be the communicator.
He's like, this is dope. I can punch something. Oh God, Hephaestus, get away! You and your fire. But anyway, like, yeah, essentially, like, Superman's sad, and she's like, no, you don't understand. If that bolt had hit without you interrupting, it would have destroyed all of Themyscira.
Oh.
So the fact that it killed one person, that's a win.
Yeah. Yeah, but I still failed.
So at the end, all the superheroes go home. They mind wipe Lobo, if you're wondering. So he doesn't remember any of this.
Good. He shouldn't.
Doesn't remember any of this.
Yay.
Son of Vulcan goes on to the Elysian Fields because he died. But he's honored as a hero, so he gets to go there and live in paradise. Good for him.
I guess.
Oh, at one point, Atlas was taken away. So Heracles had to like hold up Paradise Island because that's who's holding up Paradise Island.
Oh.
Okay, that's really heavy.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not that strong. I'm not as strong as Atlas. That's all fixed.
I was wrong to attack here. This is all a hard job.
Phantom Stranger talks to the Fates, and they're like, he's like, I don't think it's really fair that Pariah has to suffer. I just don't think that's fair. And they're like, yeah, but that's how fate is. Screw him. And
His name is Pariah.
I'm like, up top, Fates. This is right here. Give me one.
Now, the book says that he gave up his one chance to end his torture. Does that mean he did something to help?
He didn't tell Cersei their plan.
Oh. He didn't narc. What a hero.
Yeah, because he was too busy bitching and moaning about his own fate.
That is literally... He had self-control and didn't tell her the plan. That's all.
Yeah.
And really,
he
most
did
of the time, he was being babysat by two very strong people who would stop him.
Right.
You know what I never dropped in this episode because I made sure to learn it, but Son of Vulcan has another name because his human name is John Mann, but John
Mann?
John Mann is
John Guy.
Well, he's the adult version of John Boy from the Waltons.
Guy dude.
Some guy.
Yeah, John Mann is who Son of Vulcan was, but his other name is...
That is the most alien-sounding name I have ever heard.
Well, it's John...
I am John Mann.
Man.
Do you prefer his other name?
Son of Vulcan?
No, which is Halciberphilius.
No, I don't.
Kinda.
Because they'll go back and forth. So if you ever see that name brought up, it's also just the other name for Son of Vulcan. Halciberphilius or Son of Vulcan.
What? Just call me something John Mann.
Halciberphilius.
Halciberphilius.
But yeah, so then the last issue of Wonder Woman is also in this omnibus, so it's not technically part of this.
Right.
But it just gives you the last of the Perez run and that nice little letter at the end. And Etta Candy and Steve Trevor do not get married in this.
Yeah, well,
so,
DC said they couldn't, so they don't.
He only completely set it up.
I like that she's got a duffel bag on her arms like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Well, she doesn't know what to do.
I'm going to camp.
She doesn't know what to do next. Like
where are you going? I don't know.
The mascara's rebuilding. Like a lot of people are moving on and changing. Like so it's like a lot about that.
Going off to college.
Well, he made sure to Perez made sure to make this about change because it is about change because he's leaving the book. Yeah. He's moving on to something else.
Well, also it's huge. Like the Greek gods are gone, the Roman gods are coming in.
Yeah.
Change is happening.
Yeah. Now
the Roman gods were always there though, right?
Well,
but now I guess they're unchallenged.
They were
now
dead.
They're unchallenged.
They rose up.
No, they might have just been hanging out someplace. Most of the information I have about Perez came from this amazing interview I read where Perez, during this coming out, just had a just dump about what was happening.
He just went off.
He was just mad.
Yeah.
And it's fair.
It's like, I'm not gonna keep my mouth shut about what bullshit that was.
But he mentions in it, he was like, there's mistakes, and there are mistakes in this book. There are other than things printed without things on the cover or things being printed out of order. There are literal grammar issues in this book. And he's I would correct he was reading his scripts himself and making corrections and sending them back.
Geez.
And I'm like,
you should not have to do that.
Of your editor.
Yeah, that don't work.
That's not but he's I would send them back and they weren't making the changes. They wouldn't fix the print.
Wow. There's no time for that. That's going to cost a few dollars.
So this is an account according to George. He did go through it and it was all very fresh, right? But when you look at this book, a lot of that starts to make sense. And I think it makes a lot of sense to me why if you picked up this and not this, sometimes it's a little hard to follow along. Here was what I ended up doing, because this is technically in the order that it should have been released, right? It's the 1 through 24 issues as they should be. That's not how I chose to read it. Because I read issue 1, and then I went to the next issue, which was a Wonder Woman issue, and I was like, wait a minute, this issue is almost happening before what happens in the first part of War of the Gods, but it's also supporting things that are happening now as well. What? So what I did was I read issue 1, 2, 3, and 4, which of course were the moments where I was like, okay, clearly some stuff has happened.
Yeah, I missed some shit.
But then when I went through and read the other issues, it really helped me to hone in on what was important, because a lot of these issues are just making minor mentions to the War of the Gods because it's too late for their creators to really change much about what was happening.
Right.
So like if you're reading this thinking everything that happens in these books is going to come into play in War of the Gods, that's not what's going to happen. Now, I'm not saying don't enjoy them, because maybe you'll like, you know, glean some more information, like, you know, how much Hawk sucks. Or the fact that like literally there's a moment in here in the Captain Atom book where they did like an elsewhere book where they're like, elsewhere these things are happening, and one of them is like, it's Wave Rider and Monitor, and it's like,
why?
It's not gonna be him though. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But some of the creators, he did say, did try to participate a little bit more. Ostrander, Marv Wolfman, among them, tried to do their best.
All right, so some of them were just like, yeah, man, we'll help you out.
And I don't think that, like, I'm not going to say anything negative about anybody, because I don't know like, how their interactions were. It could just be like, there's nothing I can do. Like, these stories are already going, you know? Like, clearly with Lobo, you got a little more wiggle room.
Right.
Batman just shows up. You don't need to worry about that, because Batman's really not going to participate in this. There's a Maxi Zeus story in this that he participates in. That's basically it. He gets.
See, this is my connection to the Greek gods.
He gets the goblet back so he can run tests on it and do science.
Oh, I love this.
Some weird metal on here. Maybe this will come up in 30 years.
That's the Elsewhere book. That's the Captain Atom book.
Yeah, it's just like literally like Captain Atom's doing stuff, and then here's some Greek stuff, and then back to Captain Atom. It's just like flashing back and forth between these two.
And then it'll pick up, because it's like in this, like Captain Atom runs into Shadowstorm, who's like the shadowy clone evil version of Firestorm. And like,
and what does that have to do?
And like,
with...
well, because of that, like he also like he's like created like a quantum dream realm or whatever, like in the past, where like he can live a life where he wasn't Captain Atom. And like, it's actually like the first Captain Atom issue of this I found to be like really educational, because like I didn't know much about Captain Atom, and like it's a really sad backstory for this guy. I was like, oh, I get why he was going to be Monarch.
It feels.
But like,
he should be Pariah. He's sad,
right? Because he keeps like doing this over and over again. He keeps building up this negative energy, and so like this shadow version of him comes to being, and she's like, you're just making me stronger. And they're supposed to fight, and it's like a question of like who's gonna win. And I'm like, oh my god, that leads perfectly into who's Monarch. But this, no.
But then
That's
no.
amazing.
But no, listen,
amazing.
listen. We're
Oops.
going to basically sabotage the 50th anniversary and Wonder Woman crossover event to make Armageddon 2001 the event that we will then have to sabotage ourselves, because there was a leak and we don't want to go with that.
Yeah.
Because always thinking.
Yeah.
It just, you know what bothers me?
Genius.
Don't care.
What? No, that they do.
No, they
like,
care too much in weird, fucked up ways.
They do, and like they do have passion for it. And so like I don't want anyone to show up in the comments being like, oh, hater. No. What I hate is when you see a creator like George Perez, who has so much passion and respect and love for story and character and craft, and all he wants to do is like take a 50th anniversary and honor it.
Just do something nice.
Can we just
for
do
Wonder
something
Woman.
for a character?
Couldn't we just do that? And then to have it, and then to be told like you will totally have the full force of the company behind you.
Totally got your back.
Yeah, and then
just
to not. Like,
yeah.
that's where I'm like, that's garbage.
Yeah.
That's total garbage. Like the fact that he ended up like stepping down from doing Infinity Gauntlet because he was like, I'm just not interested in this story. Like he wants to come to the table and bring his A game.
Yeah.
He wants to come to like projects he's passionate for, right? And like there are a lot of different creators out there, and some creators just do it for a check. And admittedly speaking, when he was having to redo that last issue of Wonder Woman, he ended up calling up Karen Berger, who was back to being his editor, and he was just like, please just send me my check. Which they had delayed 2 weeks.
Oh. Nice.
So like, and at that point, by the time, like at the time of writing that interview, he said, he's like, I haven't spoken to anyone from DC, and I'm just working primarily for Marvel now. So I don't think it's fair that this is what happened, because it's like, it's Wonder Woman, and like I feel like at times she is a character that is like simultaneously put on a pedestal, because it's like she's one of the longest running female characters, right? And she can be a lot of different things, and a lot of different creators have taken a shot at her, and they seem to want to make their bones on her, right? Like, I'll put my mark on her. I'll make her this, or I'll make her that, or I'll do this, or I'll depower her, or whatever, right? So they can do something next. George Perez was somebody who came in and was like, I just like this character. And I really just want to, like, create a cool world for her to live in. And I want her to do really cool things, and I want to honor her. And, like, I don't know. It's a tragedy that this is what we ended up getting. Because, he was a one-man army, like, trying to get this book to happen. And it did technically happen, and a lot of people haven't looked at it, and I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
Yeah, they didn't look at it because they screwed it up.
Yeah, so, like...
I mean, it's a really challenging story concept anyway, so it would have been, like, tough enough to do, even if you had, like, total control and weren't getting screwed up.
I do think, though, that had his original plan gone through, there would have been a stronger backbone, like... to it, because it wouldn't just be him trying to put as much as he could into the War of the Gods 4 issues.
Yeah.
You know, because he's like simultaneously trying to carry the story that he knows his like other contributors can't necessarily do at this point because of how late in the game it is, right?
Yeah.
And he's also trying to wrap up his run in Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So he's also trying to like...
And he's like bringing in stuff from Crisis too. He's like, yeah, Crisis happened. I got to make sure I mention all this Crisis stuff, right?
Well, I think he brings in Pariah because he's like, Pariah showed up because it was important. And this is important.
Right.
So I want Pariah to be here.
Pariah would show up.
Yeah, and also...
So he's got to be there.
Like, you know, what if
That's
Pariah...
the thing, it's like...
What if Pariah left? Isn't that scary?
Yeah, that's a fun idea. It's like trying all this fun stuff. It's like, dude... like nobody's helping you.
Nobody's helping you, and like...
You care way more than anybody else.
Yes. Yes. And that's the thing. It's like, you know, you hear about people like, you know, like fans being like, oh, why aren't they doing this? Or like, why can't we ever see like this kind of crossover? And I'm not just talking about cross company, because George Perez did work on the JLA Avengers crossover. All he wanted to do was something that like, at the time, DC wasn't really doing too many crossovers. Again, it had to do with that market share thing. When you wonder like, oh, why can't we just do this type of story? Or why can't we do that kind of story? Like, I'm not saying that this is how things are run now. But I am saying that, like, if you wonder why it seems so monumental to get books out, or why things seem like they're all over the place sometimes, think about how hard it was for George Perez to do this, right? Like, something that he came to the table ahead of the game. He came, like, well ahead of the game.
He had every reason to think it could work.
Yes, he had every reason to think it could work. He had plans. It wasn't like he just was like, I don't know this.
Right.
Oh my God! Wonder Woman's 5th anniversary is tomorrow! Oh, I better do something real quick.
Yeah, no. He was trying to plan this out. And this is what we ended up getting. So it's a shame when we always hear about editorial like taking control of something, right? And but like when editorial takes a back seat or just like takes their hands off the wheel, that's also bad sometimes. Yeah. Because like sometimes your creators need your help.
Well, especially when you're trying to coordinate amongst multiple people.
They need to know that like they have support. Yeah. Because like, you know, I think some of the other creators, like I said, like with Marv Wolfman, he's like, I wish I could have done more with Titans. I really wish I could have done more for this story. Like that would have been great. Would have been fun. Yeah. But he wasn't told. And it's not Perez's job to do that.
Yeah. At DC now, you just be like, oh, well, did that even happen? I don't know. Like, I'll just write this thing over here, and like maybe it's in continuity, maybe it's not. I mean, who even knows? And who cares? So like, yeah, I'll write a Titans book that's like totally not related to anything else I was doing for this issue, like, and then maybe it didn't even happen.
Right. But they did care, you know, so they didn't want that to happen.
Right.
So there are ways you can get this. Like I said, you can pick up. I believe this version is probably still in print. The omnibus is still in print, which will have all 24 issues plus the final Wonder Woman story from George Perez. In the right order. Yeah. But again, not the way I read it. Yeah. Because I was like, you know what? I'm
gonna do the dedication.
I wanted to know. No, I didn't.
I have to know.
I was like, I want to know where the story is going, and what I really need to know from this, because like even like, you know, some of the Lobo stuff, I was like, okay, like I need to know this, and then for sure I was like, I need to pay attention when I'm reading the Demon book, because Clarion, I was like, there's no way Clarion's showing up in any other book than the Demon. And he doesn't show up in it, but he's mentioned directly in there. So I was like, okay, good. That's the plot point I need to point out from there.
Imagine reading this from beginning to end and not knowing which of the like crazy random things are actually going to matter later. And just retaining all this stuff.
Yeah,
and
I just got to hang on to all of it.
But like 80% of that never came up again or mattered to anything.
You know how in Armageddon 2001, the Hawk and Dove series was canceled? Remember that part? And like how they put it it was an annual? Yeah. The last issue of Hawk and Dove is this. So Hawk and Dove ends in here, and then its annual is part of Armageddon 2001. It's an interesting piece of history. It's a cautionary tale to like why you hear creatives being frustrated with editorial, why things are late, why things never happen, like
why people don't like events.
Why people don't like
it's
events.
amazing that this made it out.
Right. Why the creators don't always seem excited about crossovers in general. But the history to this book is fascinating. How wrong something can go, and somehow still managed to come out. Like, they didn't can it. They just kept going.
It just kept going.
Even if it doesn't always make any sense. And
yep, just put it out. Who cares? They're for children.
You know, if some books don't have the War of the Gods on it at all.
Yeah.
But they're part of it.
Like, you're in there.
They are part of it.
But it's part of it, and it's in there. So if you do want to read this event, here's what I'm going to recommend. All right? You can grab this for sure. It's an omnibus, so it's going to be a little pricey. So that one's totally up to you. What I would say is you can grab volume 5 and volume 6, I believe, of the Perez run. And that should have some of the information you need leading up to this, which will explain like, oh, hey, why are the Themyscirians not here, and why does everyone hate them? And also, like, what's up with these magical artifacts? That'll be in there. And then volume 6 will have the Wonder Woman issues that are in here, and also the War of the Gods pieces. There's going to be some other stuff you might want, but that you can either find the floppies yourself, or if you're committed to this event, if you're committed, you want to know all of it, you're going to want to get the omnibus then.
If you buy the omnibus, you might also be committed.
Yeah, you might. Yeah, it's a possibility, but it won't have those precursor stuff. So like, hopefully, I filled you in enough. But I would recommend going out there. There's a lot in here. Like I said, that first issue, I was like, I don't know what's going on, but there was something like. There's something enchanting about it.
It's like madness.
It is a little bit like madness, and like.
Well, it's also very
so
connected.
much happening.
There's all this Greek god stuff. Like there's all
Greek
this
god,
like magic
Roman gods,
stuff. Yeah.
Aztec gods, Norse gods.
And without the prelude, it's just.
Yeah, like
I
why
can't
is
even
this
imagine.
happening?
But it's very cool because it's also tied into the history of our world.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like we're like Wonder Woman has that foot in our mythology, in a mythology that we can relate to. It's not the mythology of a far-off planet that exploded, and like random children were sent via rocket ships, right? Like that's cool, and we can relate to that, right?
Yeah.
But that's a made-up mythology. Not that Greek and Romans aren't, but like it's.
But
we
all learned it.
Like,
know
real
already.
people who are living right now, our ancestors are people who truly believed that stuff.
Yeah.
They believed it. That's theirs. They're like, yeah, my crops aren't growing because I didn't pray to the God of the harvest enough. Yeah. But I appreciate you guys taking some time hanging out with us to try to unravel this story. Hopefully you're able to follow along. I hope. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see you guys next time. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Bye.
Pariah was laughing.
Freaking, like that literally happened. So